And welcome back, everybody, to the 1938 update. We're going to be going over some of the key things that have happened in this game so far. So let's dive right in. Well, as many of you already probably know, the Spanish nationalists have won the war in Spain. And not only did they win the war in Spain, they were able to keep the Canaris and the Dorio, the Spanish ships, away from harm. And of course, the Republican ships were all scuttled. And now Franco has his clutches in Spain currently right now. Down here in Ethiopia, however, it still is a free and independent state well into 1939. However, the Italians did move in their Regia Aeronautica down to maybe possibly persuade the Ethiopians to surrender. But knowing the commander, Madman Dan, I don't think that's going to happen. And currently right now, they do have quite a strong force to attack. So it may be up to the Soviets to try to maybe give them one last Lend-Lease, depending if France falls or not. But we'll see. It is rumored that the Germans are on the move and that possibly, maybe next turn, the Germans will march into the French territory here and take out Paris and make France fall and crumble into the two factions of Free French and Vichy. But we'll wait and see. They may even march into Poland too. But that'll be for something for the 1939 video. But over here in China, well, currently right now, the KMT under Hambone has sent the 18th and 74th Armies, which is a total of 8 infantry units up to Sichuan, up against the border in CCP. So interesting move. Don't know what they're going to be doing up there. They've also supported and held quite a bit here in China. And I think they're just waiting to see what the Japanese have in store. Because the Japanese, well, I have a lot of stuff here in Palau. Still in Palau. They've consolidated their submarines just to the north of it. But this is the bulk of the fleet here. The Kido Butai, the Akagi, Kaga, and Shoho. 2 battleships, battlecruiser Haruna. We have Kurita, who is currently managing the cruiser squadron on the capital ship Tone. And then we have several support vessels, as well as Admiral Hosogawa with his subs and invasion forces. Who knows where they are going? It is very possible that they could be going after the Dutch islands, but they also could potentially even be going after Hawaii or other territories. And that's what Hambone has recently done. He has recently helped fortify Hawaii. There is a fortification that's gone down there. And it's not complete yet. I haven't put the sculpt on. But they have moved their tactical bomber from Seattle down there to Hawaii, as well as they've moved the bulk of their air force from the eastern seaboard over to the western seaboard. So we'll see what happens in the coming turns, what the Americans decide to do. But a lot of it's going to be what the Japanese end up doing. Going back to China, the CCP did try to align Shanghai, but it went to the KMT, sadly. So now they have a new territory and new forces. So the CCP cannot do much about that right now. We'll have to wait and see what happens. However, in the north, the Japanese are really testing the Soviets' patience because they've moved their forces back up here again. Because apparently they don't want Russians to be on the border in the Manchukuo state. So we'll have to see what the Soviets decide to do next turn. Down here, some consolidation in Sydney. The bulk of the Australian Anzac fleet, the Arunta destroyer, which is Australian, and the New Zealand light cruiser, the Achilles, are in port here in Singapore, waiting to see what happens with the Japanese. And we also have a little bit more going on in Calcutta. We've been reinforced by a lot of Australian troops to the Far East Command. Here in the Indian Ocean, the Admiral Graf Spee, and 2 submarines, the U-70 and the U-889, have ended up in the middle of the Indian Ocean, giving them some options on where they may fan out and strike next turn. That in mind, down here, Force Z is currently patrolling the Red Sea right here, along with 4 French submarines, the Pascal, the Vengeur, the Acheron, and the Redoutable. So they have a powerful striking force that might be sent out to persuade any commerce raiding in the Indian Ocean, if I can say that correctly. Let's go up here into Alexandria and Cairo, and basically northeast Egypt. We have some British troops along with 3 South African divisions there, currently just holding Cairo to the best of their abilities. We did notice a slow buildup of troops and motorized units in Cyrenaica, so it's something the British want to keep an eye on with the Italians. Maybe they're just doing maneuvers, who knows. Down here, further down off the coast of Cape Town, we have the Neptune, which currently was doing duties in the Indian Ocean for the Far East Command, has now switched her banner colors over to the British side and is being escorted by the Tyran, and they're doing escort duty. Why? Because we have the Italian sub, the Torelli, as well as U-857 down here in the South Atlantic to keep an eye on them. Further north, as we cruise, we actually have the Graf Zeppelin touring Buenos Aires, but we also have the French fleet here, their capital ship and flagship, the Marseille, with her destroyers, currently just off the coast of the Pillars of Hercules. But they've noticed a lot of action with their British counterparts, namely the Ajax and Deptford, light cruiser and torpedo boat destroyer are on escort duty, as well as the Wellington, not a torpedo boat destroyer on escort duty, just inside the Mediterranean. Further north, we see the Norfolk and the Cumberland, and the Taser just not doing escort duty, just waiting to see what happens if there is perhaps an attack on their ships. Now, interesting development here off the coast of Portugal. Both battleships, the King George V and the Prince of Wales, have linked up to create a powerful persuasion force, and they're supported by the light carrier Eagle with a squadron of Swordfish dive bombers. They also have the Scourge currently defending and protecting that powerful squadron, which might be an inviting target for some German U-boats to see if they can go after an attack. We also have the Condor, which is a German defense ship or torpedo boat destroyer in that area as well. The Russians are also observing this. I have sent the Kirov off the coast of Portugal to do some observations to see what's been going on in the Atlantic, since we cannot rely on certain intel from certain areas, but we'll see what happens as the game develops. We have the Hindenburg touring Istanbul right now, doing some, PR work and trying to convince the Turks to possibly align themselves down the road. And we have the newly commissioned Marastia, which is the Romanian destroyer, which I finally have on the map here. So right now the balance of power is relatively equal in the Black Sea between the Romanians and the Russians. Over here, however, we have seen the development of a new transport, the Franco Martelli. So now that's 2 transports that the Italians have on the board. The other one over here is the Irado Monteavane, and it's down here with, and it's brought actually 2 infantry units, I believe, down there. Actually, sorry, 2 mountain units from Sicily and Italy to no doubt help in the Abyssinian War. And currently right now, the Italian fleet is still staying strong with the Littorio in command, the Zara and the Giuseppe Garibaldi, as well as the Ascara and the Gener, helping defend them with the torpedo boat destroyer, the Centauro. Basically giving the balance of the power to the Italians currently right now in the Mediterranean. Over here, up north, we also have the Courageous, the newly built Courageous. Just finished her sea trials and is now in port down here in southern England, as well as the Repulse and the Samaras has come up here, and they're on escort duty, and the coastal defense ship, the Erebus and Scorpion, also are on their tours of duty right now. We have the Sussex and Tenacious protecting the European-American line, and the British flew their medium bomber to Newfoundland to protect that trade route. And also the French are also out there doing maritime air patrol in Sea Zone A21. Fighters have left London and now are in England, as well as Marine has been developed and trained in London itself. Canadians have been moved up north to protect Scotland and do some training as well up there. Further north, we have the Friedrich Eckhold, German lone destroyer up there. Who knows what they're doing, but we do know there is a British fleet submarine, the Spiteful, tracking her course. Further down here, we have a relatively simple older defense force. We have the Schleswig-Holstein and the Falke and the U-5 currently protecting the German home waters. The Russians are on maneuvers. They've left their port in Leningrad, slipped by the Ilmarian, and have gone into Sea Zone A6, touring Scapa Flow and a few other areas right now. That particular fleet, for some of you that might be interested, is under Admiral Svetsov and the flagships Svetlana, supported by 4 submarine squadrons and 2 destroyers as well. The Soviets, as they slowly are gearing up for possible conflict in Europe, they're going to wait and see what happens in the next few turns, and might see if there is an opportunity arises for them to possibly take some territory. The Mongolians have not been successful in the recruitment roles, so hopefully someday they will be. But until then, right now Abyssinia, even though they only get a die roll of 1, they've had a recruitment roll, but Mongolia with 4 still have not got it. So patience is a virtue, as they always say. Up here in Japan, the heavy cruiser Chiyoki and her escort ships are protecting Japan proper in the East Japanese Sea there. And we will see what happens next turn. I think a lot is going to happen. I think we're going to see a big move in Europe and possibly a big Europe in the Pacific. Either way, it's going to be exciting. And I'm going to be hopefully here sharing every moment with you when I get time. And we're going to go over certain things and show you certain things with a lot of reviews and some special updates. But anyways, guys, this is my little review of this game for 1938. And we're going to go into 1939 and have a little fun and just enjoy this. We're going to make some mistakes. We know that. It's the first real game that a lot of us have played of version 4. And it's been a blast. And I just can't wait to share it with you guys. Take care, and we'll see you soon.